And we are going
Funny
to...
thing is I have some of these products.
Well, I'll have a little of everything, don't we? Okay. So this is, I'm so excited to welcome all of you to this 90-day challenge. I hope that you get a ton out of this class, that you have so much fun learning, that you take your business to a whole new level, that you feel 100% authentic, and you have a strong belief that the people who need to find you are going to meet you, okay? And I'm going to give you the tools to talk to them so they're happy and you're happy and it's a win-win situation. That sound like a game plan? Okay. My whole goal is
Sounds like a game plan to me.
Okay. My whole goal is to help people, help salespeople in general to be seen as the most helpful, kind people there are out there. And I'm determined to change the philosophy and the way people look at salespeople, that they are the most kind, helpful people, because they ask lots of questions and get to know people instead of kind of the reputation that sometimes they have right now. Does that sound good? You want to help me change that culture?
Okay. Definitely.
All right, super. So what we're going to talk about very first is about goal setting. I'm incredibly passionate about goal setting. You all got my book, Creative Goal Setting and Habit Forming. You'll want to go look at the first couple chapters that are on goal setting. There's lots of fun stories in there. If you have a family or hubby or whatever, it's really fun to read the book with the people that you love. It's fun to see what happens. One of your assignments will actually be goal setting with your family. And I honestly get probably more feedback on that one assignment than I do any others, because people usually learn something about their spouse or their children or people that they love. And this is so much fun, okay? Goal setting is one of the most exciting things you can do in every part of your life. So when I talk about goal setting, feel free to like go off and like this area of your life and this area, and don't just apply it to business, apply it to all areas of your life and have some fun, all right? So let's first start talking about this. The very first assignment you're all going to have is to create a bucket list. Who knows what a bucket list, or who's ever created one?
Anyone? I know what it is, haven't created it.
Haven't created it, okay.
Talked about it.
So a bucket list is incredibly important to start out with in this process. We're going to do several types of goal setting in the next 90 days. But the first one you need to do is what's called a bucket list. I'm going to tell you why. By the time we get to adulthood, we've started to have experiences that keep us from saying that we want to become anything that we can imagine. When we're kids, we want to become, you know, fly to the moon. We want to do these outrageous things, and we'll say anything, and we don't really care if it happens. We're okay with saying we want to become all these different things. And then we hit teens, and we have to be realistic. And we, you know, study and we get education, and then we become adults, and we better do the safe thing and get this job with this insurance, and everything needs to be safe and, you know, low risk and all this kind of stuff. And then we have things like now with the economy that happens, and quite frankly, you can have a really good education and still not have a job right now. So what guarantees you get paid? Okay, sales is one of the greatest ways to make sure that you influence whether or not you're employed, and two, if you get a raise, because you get to decide how much money you make depending on how much work you put into it. So it's a lot of fun, okay? But I want to get you thinking like you did when you were younger. I want you to start thinking about all the fun things you want to do in your life. There's no limit to this list, okay? It's really important that you do this. Now, let me tell you some of the things that you can put on this bucket list, some examples, and then I'm going to tell you why it's so important to do this and how this will help you set goals based on business goals, okay? So your bucket list is supposed to include lots of experiences, things you want to do, memories you want to make, hobbies you want to try, places you want to travel, people you want to meet, okay? This isn't a list of things you're supposed to get better at in your life, so you hope that you're, you know, perfect by the time you die. No. This is all about experiences and fun and just dreaming, okay? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? So let me tell you a little story. I have this darling, sweet cousin who I adore with all my heart, and we're about 6 months different, and I went to college and she got married out of high school. She had 5 beautiful children, they have this dark hair and big brown eyes, cute kids, but her husband was not the nicest person, to say the very least. And she got divorced from this gentleman. We're quite abusive. She finds this new guy, very nice man. She's married to him, and so it was about maybe a year into their marriage. And I'd written this book on goal setting. And I sent her a message, and I said, I called her. I said, Jody, I got this book. Is there any chance you'll look at this book for me? And she says, yeah, I can do that. I said, I'm actually going to be down where you live in about a week. I have another challenge for you. Will you create a bucket list? And she's like, I'm not sure I can do that. She'd had a lot of heart in her life. To dream about anything for herself was not something she did, okay? I mean, it just was too terrifying. She'd had a lot of heart in her life. So that's okay, but I hope you decide to, but either way, we'll talk about the book when I get down there. So she said, okay, great. So a week later, I head down there, and I had these 2 speaking engagements, and they were back to back at the same place. She was at the first one, and I was talking to different people, and she just kept hanging around. And I was trying to get ready for the next speech, and I finally just kind of went, okay, I guess I just need to talk to her because she's obviously hanging around because she has something she wants to tell me. So I'm like, Jody, what's going on? She goes, I have to tell you what happened. I decided to start a bucket list. I said, I'm so excited for you. What'd you put on it? She says, well, you know how I love photography? I said, yeah. She goes, well, I never asked anyone to pay me. And I'm just always too nice. And so I wrote down on my bucket list, I really want to get paid for doing my photography. I said, that's fantastic. That's awesome. I said, what else did you put on there? She goes, I put on there that I want to go to Florida. She goes, you know, we can't afford to go to Florida, but I want to go to Florida. And I said, okay. She goes, and she put other things on it. She says, but you're not going to believe what happened. This was only 7 days. She said, my husband went to work the next day, and there was a gentleman there, and I had taken pictures of their family. And he says, here's some money for Jody. I know that she won't take it if we give it to her, but will you please give her this money and thank her for taking our pictures? 1 day later, she paid for pictures, not new pictures she's taken, but pictures she's taken in the past. She's floored. She's so excited. And then she says, my new husband, Brandon, had some family in town, and they're from Florida, and they love my pictures, and they're going to fly me to Florida. And I'm going to get to go to Florida. Yeah, this is 7 days. I'm not kidding. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Can you guarantee it will happen?
Yeah, okay. It is amazing what happens. I have one gal I work with, and she started writing things down on paper, what she wanted. And when I started working with her, she's a pretty negative person. And I thought, this is a bad idea for me to work with her. She's too much negative energy. I don't need this. And I mean, I really didn't think I was going to be able to help her change because she was so, so negative. And she started writing things down, and things started to change. And it was like about 6 weeks later, she was at like a church thing for women. And she had people coming up to her, asking her what she was doing different, because she literally looked different, because she was happier, she was more positive, she was setting her goals. I'm telling you, almost anything she wrote on paper happened. I'm like, you better be careful what you write down, because it's a little freaky. And it's amazing what can happen, okay? I can tell you, I could sit here for the whole hour telling you stories and trying to convince you to write goals, but hopefully you'll do it anyway. Without me telling you story after story for an entire 60 minutes. But amazing things happen when you put things down on paper. Some of my favorite stories are my youth stories, but I won't tell you those right now. But teach everyone you know to put goals down on paper, because cool things happen, all right? Okay, so one of the reasons it's so important to start with a bucket list is because a lot of us as adults, we get to the point where we think we can only put things on paper that we know can happen, or we put things down that we really don't care about happening, which sometimes are bucket list things. They happen, don't happen. Go to Australia, don't go to Australia. The world won't come to an end. We're okay with putting those down. But then I ask you what your business goals are and how much money you want to make and where that money will go and what level you want to get in your company. And some of you like freeze and freak out and can't answer me, and you want to say it, but you just kind of don't dare. So this is what happens when you start with a bucket list. I kind of have this, I want you to pretend like there's this little hole in your head. And when you let goals out, it's kind of like sending prayers to heaven. I kind of say that goal setting is a way to pray always. Like letting those go. And because you opened up that hole in your head, it lets the inspiration and the ideas in. Okay, it lets the blessings in, it lets all those things in. But you don't get things you don't ask for. Asking you shall receive, okay? Like you've got to believe in that philosophy because it actually happens, okay? You've got to be able to start opening up that hole to then let out the bigger goals, the things you really want. All of a sudden, you get more brave after you see a little of these things happen on your bucket list. You go, oh, maybe I can set the goal to have X amount of recruits or this much in sales or go to this level in my company. All of a sudden, you get a little more brave to put down what you really want, okay? So I'm not going to ask you what business goals you have today because you actually, most of you don't know, or most of you aren't brave enough to say it quite yet. So you got to start with a bucket list and let this hole start to open up. It's the best way to open that up and start letting these things come in and out, okay? You'll get these whammo things like Jody did, and you'll start getting inspiration, and you'll start getting ideas of how to promote your business, who to talk to, where to be at. But you've got to open up and say you want it to happen before you get the sparks. Does that make sense? Okay? So this is a really, 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 really important activity. The more you goal set, the more you allow yourself to think about what you want, the more things come into your life. Okay? All right. Now, the other thing that's really amazing is you get a lot more sparks of inspiration. You get a lot more brainstorming ideas when you choose to do this. So hang on to those and have fun with them, okay? Because really cool things happen. Now, hopefully all of you printed off your tracker. Is everybody looking at your tracker? Okay. Your tracker is a really fun tool that's going to help you start taking your long-term goals and couple them with the habits you need. A lot of people set New Year's resolutions, and then a year later they're like, dang, none of this happened, okay? Well, most of it is because we don't set the habits that we need to make to have those things happen, right? Whether it's exercise or save money or whatever it is, we got to start different habits. So this is your opportunity, and this is a tool to help you make those habits so the goals you set for your business happen, okay? I don't want to help you set goals and then give you no way to accomplish the goals. We're going to help you choose the habits that you need to make, and each of you are different. Each of you have different strengths. Each of you have different things you need to learn about. Some of you are highly educated in one area, and in other areas you need a few little ideas on and a few more habits in, okay? So let me tell you a little bit how it works. If you're looking at the tracker, you've got 5 boxes on the bottom. 2 are filled in. One says goals and one says daily inspiration. Then you have your days of the week. When you do the activities, you check off the box in that day of the week for the thing that you did. You go to the top, you have what says target points and actual points, right? So
Total points, yeah.
Total points, thank you. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick a couple activities and you're going to choose how many times a week, how many days a week you're going to do them. Or let's say, for example, you want to make so many contacts with people, or there's something else you want to do repetitively so many times during the week. If you want to contact 10 new people, you could put 10 in the target points. Let's say on Tuesday you meet 3 people, you'd give yourself 3 slashes on Tuesday, and on Wednesday you met 2, you do 2, and on Saturday you met the other, whatever, okay? You can do it that way, or it can be something you specifically do consistently so many days a week. Does that clear as mud? Are you following me? Okay. So what I want you to think about are 3 activities that will help you be more consistent. It can be both in your business goals or in personal goals. Okay. Now let me give you an example that will hopefully start sparking some ideas. One of the things that I insist people do that work with me are the 2 first boxes. One is review your goals daily. Right now, the only goals you're going to have are your bucket list, and I want you just to review that list to stay excited, okay? Because when we're thinking about a trip somewhere, or we're thinking about skydiving, or we're thinking about something that excites us, we're like, yeah, okay, I'm going to get on Facebook and contact people. I'm going to talk to people I'm out and about. I'm going to call and book that party I've been meaning to, whatever it is. We'll get out of our comfort zone a little bit. We're excited about something. It's just kind of what happens. It's like when we give incentives to our children. Do this, you get this, right? We're going to go buy, donuts after you clean the kitchen. Boy, they're on it, okay? Go do the same thing for yourself. So we want to choose some habits. So you've got to look at your goals on a daily basis, at least 5 to 7 times a week. So in the target points, I need you to put down how many days a week you're going to review your goals. Right now, it's just your bucket list. Now, one more thought on your bucket list is this needs to be an open-ended list. If you want to put it on your phone under your notes so you can keep adding to it, if you want to have a notebook that you keep adding to it, if you want to put a great big piece of paper up on the wall and keep adding to it, but I don't want you to just do it for 30 minutes tonight and think you're done. You need to add to it, when next time you watch the Travel Channel, oh, I got to go to that country, or I got to go when it's that holiday, or whatever it is, okay? So this is not something that there's a done point. People are like, how many things should I put on there? Well, 50 to 100, but there's not one, there's not like a cutoff, okay? All right, so with that being said, the next one is daily inspiration. I'm a big believer in you need to fit in and make a habit to read something motivational, okay? Now, there's actually 2 different things I suggest you do. Product knowledge for, 10 to 20 minutes a day, and then something motivational that's either a business skill or being positive or something. So if you need a list of books, Power of Positive Thinking, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Success Principles, Last Lecture by Randy Pausch. Okay, I can give you a whole list of books. They're a lot of fun. I'm a huge believer in multitasking with this one and not taking more time out of your schedule. Download some books on Audible, get them from the library, do whatever you have to. You can listen to them while you're driving, while you're doing dishes, while you're exercising, okay? But put that in somewhere in your day. If you'd prefer to read over, listen to it, do it at night before you go to bed, first thing in the morning, but fit it in. I promise you, the time you take, you'll get motivated, you'll have more energy. That time will not actually take time out of your schedule. You'll be more likely to get more done, okay? So decide if you're going to do that 5 to 7 times a week and write in your number in your target box. Okay, now you get to pick 3 extra habits you want to create, okay? And it can be up to 3. You can do 1, you can do 2, or you can do 3. You can do whatever you want. Some people do daily planning. Some people do exercise. Some people do, I'm going to contact this many people a week. Some people, on the right-hand side are things you'd only do once a week. So like I suggest 2-hour phone calling sessions. We haven't talked about phone calling yet, so you're not going to put that one down yet. But sometimes it's a date with your husband. Sometimes I don't know. It could be community service, church service. There's no right or wrong to this. Okay? Are you kind of getting how this works? So let's hear from everybody one habit that you're going to add in the bottom and how many times a week you're going to do it. Go ahead, Belinda. You're the one that's not muted.
I want to exercise. I do not exercise currently, and that's something that I keep threatening to do. And if I put it on paper, hopefully I'm going to do it. And I put my target points I'm starting out at 3.
Excellent. Okay. All right. What do you have, Lindsay? Go ahead.
Okay, before I mute myself again. I have a habit is being more disciplined about reaching out to customers on a daily basis.
Okay, you've
Like
got to
new
pick a
leads.
specific
Like
number.
so far, I've kind of been doing it like when Sorry.
Hang on, your internet connection is being a little funny. So can you quantify that for me? Pick how many people you're going to contact a week?
I put down to contact at least 5 referrals 3 times a week so that I'm not overloading myself, but I'm not underwhelming. I'm not under producing as well.
So is that 15 total?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Great number. Well done. Okay, how about you, Missy?
I put down daily planning and exercise. Daily planning is 5 days a week, and then exercise 3.
Awesome. Perfect, ladies. Okay. So then at the end of the week, what you'll do is you'll add across the points. Okay, so if you have once a week things, so let's say date with your husband, that's 5 points. It goes up in the target as 5. If you do it, you get 5 up in the actual points or total points. You add them across, you divide the top into the, or bottom into the top, you get a percentage. And the fun thing is, even if it's 50%, even if it's 20%, you move closer to your long-term goals, okay? Now, one more thing that's really important that you do is that you look at your calendar and you choose when you're going to do these things. Because this is what happens is you get to the end of the week and you're like, ah, dang, I haven't done anything about these goals yet this week, okay? The problem is it's not a habit. 90% of what we do in our life is out of habit. And so all of us like beat ourselves up and we give ourselves a bad time. Why didn't we do anything about this week? What is wrong with me? Or 30 days goes by or a year goes by. Why haven't I done anything? It's just because it's not a habit. You've got to be nice to yourself. So let me give you a little scenario. Okay, so Lindsay, you were in the corporate world. She was an HR person for Pottery Barn. How much fun does that sound? And when you were going to work and you had your son in daycare, tell me what your average day looked like. Like, what was your daily schedule? What time did you get up? How did you manage your day? What did you do?
I was usually up no later than 6:30, and I'm not a morning person, so 6:30 might as well be like 2:30 in the morning.
Okay.
It was getting him dressed, ready to go for the day. Good job, honey. Sorry. We're potty training.
We'll all cheer with you.
Sorry.
You're totally fine.
Got him ready, got his food for the day ready, whether it was, pre-pumped or formula based or when he got to solids. Get all of my paperwork together because I always worked later at home organizing. So my desk became my kitchen table.
Okay.
So organizing all of that. We were in the car no later than 8:30 to drop him off at his daycare. And I usually tried to get there where I wasn't just like, here you go, see you later, bye. I didn't just want to, drop him off and go. And then I'd get to my office and it was just about going through and finding out, okay, who has hiring needs? What needs are they? Qualifications? Who do I need to touch base with about new hires, their training, their orientation? But I did create a list every day of these are the things that have to get done. These are the things that I would like to get done. And these are the things that should get done but can wait. And I'd be there until like 5 or 6.
Right.
Sorry, what?
Then what did your evening look like?
My evening was picking Knox up if my husband already hadn't been able to get him, coming home and spending time, trying to spend time as a family, but that usually got overwhelmed with emails from both our jobs or just being like, okay, I need a break.
Right.
Hence being a stay-at-home mom now.
Right. What did you do for dinner?
If we were lucky, I would make something. 9 out of 10 times, though, I would pick something up on the way home.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or Steve would pick something up on the way home.
Gotcha. Okay, so I want you to think about this for a minute. All the ways that she prepared her day. I know we don't like to see direct sales as a job. For some reason, we think that's this ugly, almost 4-letter word, and it's a 3-letter word. But one of the things that I see happen all the time, this is like my absolute most, I want to shoot myself when this sentence is said, when people sign up with direct sales. Well, I think I'll give this a try and just see what happens. Okay, if you went to Pottery Barn as the HR person and said, I don't know, I'll go do this job and just see what happens, okay, how quickly would you be fired, right? Okay, it's just like,
I would have been fired that day.
Right, it's like you're firing yourself when you say that. Now, it's okay. The reason they're saying that is because they're too scared to set a goal. Okay, I get that, totally get it. But the thing is, if we start telling people, look, you do get to pick your hours, but the problem is you have to actually pick the hours to work. This is the important part. You have to pick the hours to work, all right? Now, so I'm telling people, I'm like, we need to set alarms. Like, if you're not a morning person, I'm sure you set an alarm to get up at 6:30, right? Didn't happen on its own. Okay? And here we have all these people in direct sales that get to an end of week and realize they didn't do anything on their business, but they didn't set it in their schedule at all to do it. We have to set alarms. We have to make arrangements for our family. They need to understand what we're doing. We have to set specific time in our schedules for business activities. Okay? This is really, really, really important that you start to be deliberate about your business, just like you would be if you were at a job. Now, yes, you get to work flexible hours. Yes, you get to give yourself a raise, and the better you get at things, the more money you make per hour. That's the perks in all this. You get to give yourself a raise and work smarter. But you have to want to put in real business hours. This is incredibly, incredibly important, okay? Make those hours count. Put them in and decide when you're going to work. Now, when I did direct sales consistently, one of the things I did was a 2-hour phone calling session every week. And my husband knew that unless the house was on fire, if the children interrupted me, that, you know, there was going to be a price to pay for that. That this was my work time. I might be home, but I'm working. Just the same as if I left a job and was working at Pottery Barn, okay? Granted, there's a time and place for Lindsay to be interrupted at Pottery Barn, okay? But not most of the time, right? That you pay daycare for a reason. I was a spouse for a reason. I wasn't a single parent intentionally, okay? So unless the house was on fire, they weren't allowed to interrupt me. But it's something you have to train everybody to do, or you leave the house, you go to the library, public place, go sit in your car and make phone calls, whatever. But it's something everybody has to understand. Like Lindsay, one of the things she could have done is maybe learn how to crock-pot cook, or maybe you figure out where the cheapest places are and what nights you get pizza, okay? All of those things are acceptable, but you have to put those into play. I'm not asking you to put your kids into daycare, but I'm asking you to think about, how do I work with and around my kids, teach them when it's you and them time, and teach them when it's business time. I've even heard it suggested, have a box of toys or activities or a certain game that they only get to play that when mom's working, okay? Find creative ways to be very deliberate about your time and put in business time, because the week will come and go and you will realize you didn't put any time into it, right? That's really easy to happen. So make it happen. So the things that you just put on your tracker, before this call's over, I need you to get your calendar out and I need you to decide when you're going to do those. So if you need to work around nap times, or if you need to text your husband and say, hey, Wednesday night, I need that to be my work night, or whatever it is, make the arrangements you need to make so that you have work time or these habit times for those to work. Okay, do you see what I'm saying? I'm not asking you to look at it like a job, but I'm asking you to be as deliberate about your business as you would if you started a job, if you don't want to get fired. Okay, can you see how much more beneficial that will be mentally? Okay, And it's totally fine to look at your calendar and think about when you're going to multitask. If you're going to be out and about at an event, or you're going to be somewhere where your kids are and you know you're going to get to meet people, well, yeah, mentally prepare to have things with you, that if you get to have a conversation about the products you carry, that yeah, you multitask and you network at the same time that you're there, you know, PTO or whatever, okay? That's totally okay, but you've got to look at your week in advance and prepare for those kind of things. Okay? All right. So one last thing, who was on the recruiting call? Who was on the free recruiting?
I didn't.
Lindsay was. Belinda, were you?
I didn't get to make that one. I thought you
Okay.
had two, and the noon didn't work for me.
That's totally okay. So one of the things, so poor Lindsay, this will be the third time she'll have heard this. Well, okay, let me tell you one quick thing. One other thing that I want you to do is to get a journal, and as good things happen, okay, I want you to start writing those down. When you see miracles happen, when you run into people at the right places, all those kind of things, I want you to start keeping notes of those things. Because when you set a big goal and you're wondering, how am I going to accomplish this? You need to be able to look back and go, okay, well, this worked out. Maybe there's a way this is going to work out. I need you to hang on to those things. One of the things, I have a wall right here full of Post-it notes. Every time somebody sends me a quick message or an email, oh, this happened, this worked, this miracle happened, I write it down, put their name on it, and slap it on my wall. Because there's times I get tired. Even though I absolutely love what I do, I'm going to tell you, there's times I don't always want to work. And, you know, because I'm just human and normal. It doesn't mean I don't like what I do. But I get tired like everybody else. But it's those kind of things that keep me motivated, or doing the parts of my business. The busy work, like I love talking to people. This is my most fun part. My mentor is like, get your LinkedIn stuff together, get your website right. You know, it's those kind of things that I just don't like to make time for. So whatever your thing is, and it depends on your personality. If you're a beaver or lion, or, you know, whatever your little personality, there's all these different personality tests you can take. I'm a red, I'm a lion, I don't know, I'm an A-type, whatever, you know. Okay. Depends on your personality. Everybody's different on the pieces of their business they like to do. See, there's one more thing I'm going to share. The other thing I want you to remember about goal setting is 3 things happen. The first one, which has probably already happened, you're thinking about that goal and that thing you want to accomplish with your business. And I bet you've had doubtful thoughts sneak in that go, what makes you think you can do it? Okay, right? We always have those little thoughts sneak in. What makes you think you're the one that can do it? Well, believe me, I was at ground zero at one time too. I did not have any business at one time. I can do it. You can do it. I promise. Okay. The second thing that happens is stumbling blocks come. Like we'll get smacked, like things will happen. Kids will get sick. Husbands will be late. I mean, and bigger things will happen and try to knock us off our game. But the thing that's the most important that happens when we set goals is that miracles happen and overcome those other 2 things, okay? So hang on to that as things happen as you set goals. Okay, so the last thing I want to share with you is what's called motivational styles. And you can go watch the recruiting video, which each of you got, to better understand this. But this is really, really, really important that you understand this about yourself. There's 3 questions, and I want you to email me the answer to these with several other things that you're going to have a list of assignments to do this week. The first one is, are you more motivated by money and titles, or are you more motivated by changing the world? You're probably a mixture of both. Most people won't only work for free, and most people don't only want things that give them money, but there's no satisfaction. But usually you're heavy in one area or the other. And you got to realize that the Mother Teresa's that are changing the world people need the Bill Gates who are motivated by money. Okay, that just because you're motivated by money doesn't make you worldly or anything. We need those people that are philanthropists too. So either one's important, but you need to understand that about yourself, because if you're a change the world person, you need to set a goal based on how many people's lives you want to change versus only on money, because you're not mostly motivated by money. Okay. The next one is, are you a variety or consistency person? Do you like your day to look exactly the same every day? Or are you okay if things get changed up and something gets thrown in and whatnot? So consistency or motivation, consistency or variety. And then the last one is, do you like to work alone or do you like to work in groups? When it comes time to get a job done, would you rather just assign it all out and say, let me know when you get it done? Or is it we all come together, we turn on loud music, we have some food, and everybody works together? Which one are you of those? So these are really, really important to understand, because the more you understand these things, the more you can relate to different people and understand why they do things, and the more you understand how you accomplish certain goals. Okay, is that understandable? Makes sense? Okay, so do you have any questions on those, or did you get kind of a sense of which of those you were?
Yeah.
Yeah? So tell me what you are, Belinda.
The first one, whether I'm motivated by money or helping to change the world, ideally both. I'm not sure which one weighs heavier. I think helping people weighs a little bit heavier than making money.
Okay.
Because when I make money, I just give it away.
That's funny.
As I like variety a lot. I do well with, I'm organized, but I also like variety. I get bored quickly.
Okay.
So I like variety, and I think I like to work alone because I am an A-type personality and I like things done my way. So, I mean, honestly, that's the way it is. I don't mind, and I do well in groups, but I tend to be more of a person who does things alone.
Gotcha. Okay, and how about you, Missy? I know Lindsay's. We've been chatting about this a couple times. What's yours?
I think right now I'm motivated more by money because of the need of it for my family.
Okay.
But I do like. I'm kind of mixed on the variety and consistency because I like routine, and that's what I'm finding one of the hardest things with this job is not knowing what my routine should be.
Okay.
I like working alone because I'm very much like Belinda, and it's either do it my way or not do it at all.
Right. And that's okay, but you gotta understand, that's not a bad thing. You just need to understand that about yourself. Like,
I've known that about myself for a long time. It was sort of like in my yard, if you play my game, that's fine, but if you don't want to play, then you gotta go home.
You gotta play by my rules.
My dad still teases me about that today.
that is awesome. So cute. Yeah, I'm a work alone and I'm a variety. So Missy, what we need to do is help you get on your calendar a consistency of when you do what, okay? And the thing is, as a mom of 5, one of the things you can do is have a weekly planning session where you have this list of things that have to be done, and then you can decide the days you're going to do them on, and it can move around. You just got to make sure you get them all done. Okay? All right.
Good.
You have a list of assignments that I want to hear from you this week on, okay? And I will try to remember to send you a midweek email that talks about these things, but the more you do the assignments, the farther you'll get, okay? So bucket list, bucket list, bucket list. This should be fun, lots of fun. Keep adding to this all week long. Doing your daily inspiration. I want to know what book you're going to be listening or reading. Your short-term goals. I don't care if it's 1 or 3, but I want to know what they are. Your tracker needs to get hung up today. And the place I suggest you put it is by your bed. You are more than welcome to text me every night and tell me you filled it out. I don't keep the sound on my phone very much, so it will not wake me up. I don't care if it's 1 in the morning. If you're a night person, fine, I don't care. But you're welcome to text me to make your accountability partner to create that habit, okay? Let's see, what else? And then get something you can use for your journal and your 3 motivational styles. So none of this takes a lot of time, but it's a good foundation to get you going, okay? Now, just so you know, one of the things I made it easy for you to do, here, I'm going to put it in the chat. So I went on my website, and because most of you were saying it would help if you did this in payments, okay? And so on my website, let me go there real quick. What I did is I set up a subscription, and it will only charge you for 3 months. It doesn't keep going, okay? It's set for 3 months, I promise. And so you can go on there and you can make your first payment, and it gives you 3 options. There's 100, 150, or 200. And you can do that, and you can make that payment. Some of you have told me when you can start those payments, but that will give you a place to get started. This is the funniest thing. It doesn't let me copy and paste. Hang on, let me fix that.
How old is your baby, Lindsay?
He is 1.
Oh.
He's getting over a cold, so he's a little bit more like, Mommy needs to hold me to nap mode.
That's right.
Tried putting him down, but as you can see, it didn't work very long.
Hey, he's happy. He's
Yeah.
content and asleep. So hard to get stuff done, but you know what? That'll always be there and can wait.
Yeah.
How old are your kids, Missy?
My oldest one is just turned 25, actually.
Ah,
Yeah.
and your youngest?
And my youngest one is 12.
Ah, you're like me. I've got a 22 and a 10, 22, 19, 11, and 10.
Oh, I miss the baby age, though.
I don't.
I do.
I love to cuddle them, hug them, and give them back to mama for the diaper changes and the sleepless nights.
I was really blessed. My children slept really well, so.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah.
I miss babies, but not enough to have another one, that's for sure.
Dean, I'm so ready to be
I will
over
say
the
that,
baby
so I will
stage.
clarify that. I miss babies, but I don't want any more.
Yeah. What did you say, Lindsay?
And I'm kind of ready to be out of the baby stage for a little bit.
Are you?
We want more, but not for like 4 more years. So.
Yeah. That's my break. I have 2 and then a 4-year break and then 2, and that's fun, actually.
I had
Yeah.
2 and 8.5 year break, and then 2 more that are back to back.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So if you see, I put the link in the chat box down at the bottom, and then my phone number. And like I said, it will just charge it through PayPal. It doesn't matter if you have a PayPal account. You can use a credit or debit card, and it will just automatically charge you for the next 3 months. Okay. Does that work? If it doesn't, just message me. Okay. And we'll make whatever arrangements you need to. It's not a problem. Just trying to figure out some simpler ways for people to take care of that, and you don't have to think about it. Okay, sound like a game plan?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, awesome. Any questions that you all have?
No, maybe you could put a list together of those inspirational books that you were talking about.
Sure. Here, I'll put a couple in here real fast for you.
Okay.
Okay, so Power of Positive Thinking. The last lecture. That one's by Randy. Oops.
Isn't that also a documentary or a speech you can listen to?
Yeah, you can go to YouTube and listen to the lecture, but he expands on it in the book. The book's a lot longer.
Thank you.
My 15-year-old son has watched and listened to that book so many times. It's kind of fun.
And Michelle, are you wanting us to choose from this list you're giving us?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
They're just ones I like.
Well, because I downloaded the Get Motivated. Does that one work?
Yeah,
the Get
sure.
Motivated book by Terry? Okay.
Yep. I mean, that one is more practical than inspirational, but it's still good. It's still great.
Okay.
Honestly, if I had one to pick with, it would probably be How to Win Friends and Influence People, and that's because as I'm teaching you how to ask questions, I want you to really sink into your heart how much better it is to ask questions and not just talk about your product. And it helps you see how you can take really good care of people and have good customer service and people stay with you, that you don't have to be pushy. Actually, the nicer you are, the better your sales go. Yes, you need to be deliberate. I wish people would change this. You need to be bold to sell to I need to be deliberate. I need to be in the right places, and I need to schedule time, and I need to, when I hear an opportunity to share something with someone, take that opportunity and ask some questions, get to know them a little bit better, then, ask permission to tell something about your product. It's being deliberate. It's not being pushy or bold. I want to break that because I've been known as pushy and bold, believe me, but that I actually sold a heck of a lot more when people were telling me how nice I was. It was like, you're not pushy at all, and my sales are skyrocketing. I'm like, okay, obviously that's not the best way. It's one way to do it, but it's not the best way. Okay, let me think. What are some of my other favorites?
I think that's a good start.
Yeah. I mean, you can just read a book called Goals by Brian Tracy. But sometimes the only problem with that one is that it gives you so many different ways to set goals that then some people just like freeze and don't do any of them because it's just like, it's kind of like Zig Ziglar's Closing the Deal. There's so many different methods for closing the deal in his book that some people just like can't figure out which one to start with. So it kind of
I can do this one. I can do that one. I can do this one.
Yeah. Then they don't do any of them. Yeah. Those are some really good ones. Like I said, I loved How to Win Friends and Influence People is so old, but boy, if people acted like that more often, I bet our economy would improve. Like, geez.
Tell us how you really feel about it.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I just can't believe how little customer service there is. And even when you just walk into a retail store, I do not get why the question is, hi, tell me what you came into shop for today instead of can I help you with something?
Yeah.
99% no, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to change some things in this culture.
One person at a time.
That's right. Or three. We got 3 at a time, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. No, coming
Trying to
from
do it in groups.
retail, we did not teach like yes or no. We were like, no, you find out really what they're about.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That was my philosophy.
We live in such a me society, though. People don't care what you're about.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, honestly, they don't. How can you help me, basically, is what they want. So.
Yeah, and that's not what the really interesting thing is. I have one gal right now that's so sweet, and it's not like you can see it click. She goes, this isn't about me. The less I think about me, the more I sell. She's like, this isn't about me at all. This is so much about the other person and what they need. And it wasn't like she was selfish or self-centered before, but it's just so clear to her. The less I think about myself, the better I do. And it's cool. So if you will work like it all depends on you and pray like it always depends on God, and like just don't stress about it, just work hard and deliberate. You can let it go and know that it's all going to work out. Put down your goals, work smart, and somehow it all comes together. It's really cool what happens. You have goals, but you don't need to worry about them. Like if you start feeling yourself worry, take some deep breaths, go have a brainstorming session, go read something positive. Worrying stops and closes that hole I told you about and makes it so you don't get as much inspiration. You've got to be excited and motivated and deliberate more than worried and panicked and stressed. That makes sense? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. So I have a small favor to ask. Next week, I've been asked to speak on a teleconference thing. Would you be either willing to go an hour earlier next week at 11?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
That'd
works.
be okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We will do that, and then that means I can do a couple more things, and we'll go from there. It's Labor Day. Are y'all going to be home?
Yes.
I don't plan on going anywhere.
Okay.